Long, long ago, when the world was younger and magic still danced through the morning mist, in the heart of America's wide green forests, where ancient oaks stretched their mighty arms toward heaven and crystal streams sang their eternal songs, there lived a humble woodcutter named Samuel. Now, Samuel wasn't rich. Oh no, not by the world's measure. He didn't own a grand house with marble floors or silk curtains. He didn't have chests overflowing with gold coins or servants to tend his every need. But Samuel possessed something far more precious, something that no amount of money could ever buy, an honest heart that beat true and pure like a bell that rings clear in the mountain air. Another day, another dollar, as Papa used to say, Samuel would murmur to himself as he worked. These trees won't cut themselves, and little Mary needs new shoes before winter comes calling. Every morning, as the sun painted the sky in shades of rose and gold, Samuel would rise from his simple bed in his modest cabin. He would kiss his dear wife Martha goodbye, ruffle the hair of his three children, little Mary, brave young Thomas, and baby Ruth, and set off into the forest with his faithful axe. This wasn't just any axe, mind you, it had belonged to his father and his father's father before him. The wooden handle was worn smooth by 3 generations of honest hands. The iron blade, though nicked and weathered, was sharp and true. It was Samuel's most treasured possession, for it was his lifeline to providing for his beloved family. Day after day, Samuel worked with dedication that would make the angels themselves pause in admiration. Chop, chop, chop. The sound echoed through the forest like a heartbeat. He would cut the fallen branches, split the logs, and bundle the kindling. Then, loading his simple wooden cart, he would trudge the winding path to the village market. Morning, Samuel. Got some fine wood there, I see, Mr. Henderson, the village merchant, would call out. Good morning, Mr. Henderson, Samuel would reply with a warm smile. Cut fresh yesterday from the old oak that fell in last week's storm. Should burn clean and bright for you. The villagers knew Samuel well. They trusted him because his word was his bond. When Samuel said the wood was dry, it was dry. When he promised delivery by sunset, the wood would be stacked neatly before the last ray of sun disappeared behind the hills. But fate, as it sometimes does, had a different plan brewing in the currents of destiny. It was a particularly hot afternoon in late July. The sun blazed overhead like a furnace, and even the usually chattering squirrels had retreated to the cool shade of their leafy homes. Samuel wiped the sweat from his brow as he worked near Clearwater River, a rushing stream that danced and sparkled its way through the forest. Mercy, it's hot today, he panted heavily. But these logs won't split themselves. Martha's counting on me to finish this order for the Johnson family. Samuel raised his axe high above his head, muscles straining with the effort. The blade caught the sunlight for just a moment, gleaming like a silver star, but as he brought it down with all his might, disaster struck. His sweaty hands, slick with perspiration, lost their grip. Oh no, he cried out. The axe flew from his grasp like a bird taking flight. It spun through the air once, twice, 3 times, before landing with a great splash in the deepest part of Clearwater River. The rushing current immediately swept it away into the murky depths below. Samuel stood frozen, his mouth agape, watching helplessly as his precious axe disappeared beneath the swirling waters. Oh no, my axe! My father's axe! His voice broke with despair. Without it, I can't work. I can't cut wood. I can't feed my family. The reality of his situation hit Samuel like a thunderbolt. That axe wasn't just a tool, it was his family's survival. Without it, how would he earn the coins needed for bread, for milk, for little Mary's new shoes, for baby Ruth's medicine? Samuel sank down on the mossy riverbank, his head falling into his calloused hands. His broad shoulders shook as the weight of despair settled upon him like a heavy cloak. What am I going to tell Martha? He whispered to himself. What am I going to tell the children? Lord help me. What am I going to do? For several long minutes, Samuel sat there in the dappled sunlight, feeling more hopeless than he had ever felt in his entire life. The river continued its cheerful babbling, completely indifferent to his plight. Birds sang their afternoon songs in the branches above. Life in the forest went on as if nothing had happened. But sometimes, dear friends, when all seems lost and the darkness threatens to swallow our hope entirely, that's precisely when magic chooses to reveal itself. Suddenly, the air around Samuel began to change. A gentle breeze stirred the leaves, carrying with it the sweet scent of wildflowers and something else, something mysterious and otherworldly. Dear Spirit, forgive me. I don't know the proper way to address such a magnificent being as yourself. His voice trembled with awe. My axe? My father's axe? has fallen into your river. It was plain and simple, nothing special to look at, but it was my only tool, my only means of providing for my wife and children. The forest spirit's expression softened with compassion as she listened to Samuel's honest words. She could see into his heart, could feel the genuine love he held for his family and the despair that threatened to overwhelm him. Your devotion to your family touches my ancient heart, Samuel. Yes, I know your name, for I have watched you work these many years. I have seen your kindness to the creatures of the forest, how you take only what you need and waste nothing of nature's gifts. With graceful movements, the forest spirit descended into the depths of the river. The water seemed to welcome her, parting gently as she disappeared from view. Samuel waited, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest, hardly daring to hope. Moments later, she emerged from the water and in her delicate hands, she held an axe. But oh, what an axe it was! This was no ordinary tool, it was crafted entirely of the finest gold, gleaming and glittering in the afternoon sun like a piece of captured sunlight. The handle was smooth as silk, carved with intricate patterns that seemed to dance and shift in the light. The blade was sharp as a razor and bright as the morning star. Tell me truthfully, dear Samuel, is this the axe that fell from your hands? Samuel's eyes widened at the sight of such magnificent beauty. For a moment, just for a moment, he felt his heart skip a beat. With such an axe, he could work twice as fast. He could cut through the hardest wood like butter. He could sell it and never worry about money again. His family would want for nothing. But then, as quickly as the tempting thoughts arose, Samuel's honest nature asserted itself like a strong wind blowing away morning fog. No, gracious spirit, he shook his head firmly. That beautiful golden axe is not mine. Mine was plain and simple, made of iron and wood, with scratches and nicks from years of faithful service. I cannot lie to you, not even if it means my family and I must go hungry. The forest spirit's eyes sparkled with approval, but she said nothing. Instead, she descended once more into the river's depths. This time, when she emerged, she held an axe of gleaming silver. It was almost as beautiful as the golden one, its surface polished to mirror brightness, reflecting Samuel's honest face back at him. The handle was carved from the finest white oak, smooth and perfect in every detail. And this one, Samuel, is this perhaps the axe that you have lost? Again, Samuel felt the pull of temptation. The silver axe was stunning, valuable beyond his wildest dreams. With such a tool, he could elevate his family's station in life. They could move to a larger house, buy fine clothes, never worry about where their next meal would come from. But Samuel's conscience was stronger than his desires. No, dear spirit, he sighed deeply. As beautiful as it is, this is not my axe either. My axe was humble, iron and wood, worn by my father's hands and my own. It may not have been much to look at, but it was mine and it was honest work that it helped me do. For the third time, the forest spirit disappeared beneath the waters of Clearwater River. Samuel waited, his heart heavy with the knowledge that he was about to receive disappointing news. Surely, his old axe was lost forever, swept away by the current, buried in the mud at the bottom of some distant pond. But when the spirit emerged this final time, Samuel's heart leaped with joy. There, cradled gently in her luminous hands, was his beloved axe, his father's axe, his grandfather's axe. The wooden handle was worn smooth by generations of honest labor. The iron blade was nicked and weathered but still strong and true. It wasn't beautiful in the way the world measures beauty, but to Samuel, it was the most wonderful sight he had ever seen. Yes! Oh yes, that's my axe! Tears of joy streamed down his face. My faithful, true axe, thank you. Blessed spirit, thank you with all my heart. The forest spirit smiled, and when she smiled, it was as if the sun had broken through storm clouds after a long dark night. Her joy seemed to make the very air around them sparkle with golden light. Samuel, your honesty has moved my heart more than you can possibly know. In all my centuries of watching over this forest, I have rarely encountered a soul as pure and true as yours. You could have lied, could have claimed the gold or silver as your own, but you chose truth over treasure. Because of your noble heart, I will not only return your faithful axe to you. As she spoke, the golden and silver axes appeared once more, floating gently in the air beside her. But I will also give you these as well as a reward for your unwavering honesty. Use them wisely, Samuel. Let them be tools not just for your prosperity, but for the good of all those around you. Blessed Spirit, I don't know what to say. Samuel fell to his knees in gratitude. Such generosity, such kindness. I'm not worthy of such gifts. Your honest heart makes you worthy of far more than this, dear Samuel. Go now, return to your family. Tell them of what has transpired here today. Let your story be a light to others, showing them that truth and integrity are the greatest treasures any soul can possess. With those words, the forest spirit began to fade like morning mist touched by the sun's first rays. The magical shimmer left the water, and Clearwater River returned to its normal, cheerful babbling. But there on the mossy bank lay three axes, one of gold, one of silver, and one of honest iron and wood. Samuel gathered them carefully, hardly able to believe that such a miraculous thing had truly happened to him. As he walked home through the familiar forest paths, his heart was lighter than it had been in years. Not because of the valuable axes he carried, though he was certainly grateful for them, but because he had stayed true to himself and his principles, even when faced with great temptation. Samuel, I was beginning to worry. You're later than usual? And, oh my stars, what are those beautiful axes you're carrying? Martha ran to greet him. Samuel gathered his beloved wife and children around the simple wooden table in their cozy cabin, and by the warm light of their oil lamp, he told them the extraordinary tale of his encounter with the forest spirit. Little Mary gasped at the description of the golden axe. Young Thomas's eyes widened as he heard about the silver one. Even baby Ruth seemed to listen with unusual attention. Papa, weren't you even a little bit tempted to say one of the fancy axes was yours? Thomas asked thoughtfully. Oh yes, son, I was tempted. Very tempted indeed, Samuel replied. But you see, those axes, beautiful as they were, weren't mine. Taking them would have been stealing and a lie. And once you tell one lie, it becomes easier to tell another and another until you've lost the most precious thing you have, your integrity. What's integrity, Papa? Little Mary wondered. Integrity, my dear little Mary, is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. It's being the same good person in the darkness as you are in the light. It's knowing that your word is your bond and that others can trust you completely. Word of Samuel's extraordinary experience spread through the village like ripples on a pond. Most folks marveled at his good fortune and praised his honesty. But unfortunately, as often happens when tales of easy riches begin to circulate, some greedy hearts began to hatch selfish schemes. If that simple woodcutter could get rich just by throwing his axe in the river and claiming the plain one, surely we could do the same. One greedy villager whispered to his companion. Exactly. Why should Samuel have all the luck? We deserve our share of magical riches too, replied the other. So it was that the very next day, these greedy men, there were three of them, led by a man named Silas Grumblebottom, who had never done an honest day's work in his life, made their way to Clearwater River. They carried with them their own axes, planning to recreate Samuel's lucky accident. All right, boys, here's the plan. Silas rubbed his hands together gleefully. I'll throw my axe in the water, then start crying and wailing about how I can't feed my family. When that forest spirit shows up with the golden axe, I'll claim it's mine and we'll be rich. Silas hurled his axe into the river with theatrical flair and immediately began the most unconvincing display of grief ever witnessed. Oh no! Oh, woe is me! He fake sobbed dramatically. My precious axe! However will I feed my 17 starving children and my dear sickly grandmother? Now it's important to understand that the forest spirit wasn't just beautiful and magical, she was also very, very wise. She had watched over the forest for centuries and she could see into the hearts of all who entered her domain. She knew the difference between genuine distress and greedy play acting as clearly as the difference between sunshine and shadow. The water began to shimmer and the forest spirit appeared, but this time her expression was stern and knowing. And why, pray tell, do you weep beside my river? Her voice was cool and distant. Oh, beautiful spirit, Silas continued his fake crying. My axe, my only axe, has fallen into your waters. I'm just a poor, honest man trying to feed my enormous family. The spirit disappeared beneath the water and emerged with a magnificent golden axe, even more beautiful than the one she had shown Samuel. Is this your axe? Oh yes, that's definitely my axe. Silas's eyes lit up with greed. I'd recognize it anywhere. But the moment those lying words left Silas's mouth, the forest spirit's expression grew cold as winter frost. The golden axe vanished from her hands like smoke in the wind. Liar, cheat, thief of truth. Her voice became sharp as a blade. You seek to deceive one who has watched over this forest since before your grandfather's grandfather drew his first breath. Your greed has blinded you to honor, and your dishonesty has cost you everything." With those words, the forest spirit disappeared, taking with her not only the golden axe but Silas's original axe as well. He was left with nothing but his shame and the echoing laughter of his companions, who suddenly found his failure far less amusing when they realized it meant their own schemes were doomed as well. "Wait, come back!" Silas frantically searched the water. "I made a mistake. I'll be honest now." But the river remained just a river, babbling cheerfully along as if nothing had happened. The three greedy men slunk back to the village empty-handed and poorer than when they had started, for they had lost not only their axes but their reputations as well. Meanwhile, Samuel continued his work with quiet dignity. Though he now possessed axes of gold and silver worth more than most people saw in a lifetime, he continued to use his old, faithful iron axe for his daily labor. The precious axes he kept safe, selling small shavings of gold and silver only when his family truly needed something important: medicine for baby Ruth when she fell ill, new books for Thomas who loved to read, pretty ribbons for Mary's hair, and a warm winter coat for his dear Martha. "Samuel, I don't understand," one neighbor said to him. "Why don't you sell those magical axes and live like a king?" Samuel paused in his work and replied, "Because, my friend, the axes were a gift for my honesty, not an invitation to laziness. The forest spirit rewarded me for being true to who I am, a woodcutter who takes pride in his work. If I stopped being that person, would I still be worthy of such gifts?" Samuel's wisdom proved true in ways he could never have imagined. His reputation for honesty and integrity spread far beyond his little village. People came from distant towns to buy wood from the honest woodcutter, knowing that his word was as solid as oak and as pure as spring water. Years passed and Samuel's family prospered not because of magical riches but because they lived by the principles of hard work, honesty, and kindness to others. Little Mary grew up to be a teacher, sharing the value of truth with children throughout the region. Thomas became a craftsman renowned for his integrity, never cutting corners or using inferior materials. Even baby Ruth, when she was old enough, became known for her charitable works, using the family's modest wealth to help others in need. And sometimes, on particularly quiet evenings when the sunset painted the sky in shades of gold and rose, Samuel would sit on his porch with his grandchildren gathered around his feet, and he would tell them the story of the day he met the forest spirit. He would speak of the golden axe and the silver axe, but most importantly, he would tell them about the choice he made, the choice to value truth over treasure, integrity over wealth. "But Grandpa, weren't you scared that you'd never get your axe back?" one grandchild would ask. Samuel would smile with the wisdom of years and answer, "Oh yes, little one, I was frightened. But you see, being honest isn't about not being afraid, it's about doing what's right even when you are afraid. Fear is just a feeling, but integrity is a choice. And the right choice, no matter how difficult it seems in the moment, always leads to blessings we could never have imagined." And so, dear friends, the tale of Samuel the honest woodcutter reminds us that in a world where it often seems that cheaters prosper and liars get ahead, there is still magic in truth, there is still power in integrity. There is still reward for those who choose the difficult path of honesty over the easy road of deception. The forest spirit still watches over her domain, they say, waiting to reward those pure hearts who choose truth over treasure. And though you may never meet a magical being rising from a shimmering river, you will face countless moments when you must choose between honesty and advantage, between integrity and gain. In those moments, remember Samuel. Remember that honesty is indeed the best treasure of all. Gold may shine, silver may sparkle, but an honest heart shines brighter than both, and its light never fades, never tarnishes, and never loses its value. For in the end, what we are matters far more than what we have, and the person we choose to be is the greatest gift we can give to the world. Let your word be your bond, your truth be your treasure, and your integrity be your inheritance to the world.